Mike was a student at the Federal University of Owerri. He was studying for his master's degree in civil engineering. But Mike had been hurt in the past by love. He had been rich and handsome, with a big tech company in Abuja. Many girls wanted to be with him, but Mike knew they only wanted his money. He felt lonely because he wasn't sure if anyone liked him for who he really was. Mike had always dreamed of finding true love, but he didn't want to be tricked again. So, he made a big decision. He decided to hide who he really was. He wanted to see if anyone would like him for his heart, not his money. That's why he went to Owerri, to continue his education and find someone who would love him for who he was, not for what he had. He was looking for a wife, someone special who would love him just for being Mike, not the billionaire. It was a big risk, but Mike was determined. He wanted to find out if love could be real for him, or if he would always be seen as just a rich guy. Mike had an idea. He decided to wear a mask to cover his handsome face and dress like he didn't have much money. He wanted to see if anyone would like him for who he was, not for how he looked or how much money he had. On his first day at school, everything went well. People smiled and greeted him, and Mike felt happy. But after a week, things started to change. The students began to stay away from him because he wasn't like them. They didn't understand why he dressed differently and wore a mask. Mike didn't mind at first, because he was focused on finding real love. Every day, Mike would wave at the girls to say hi, but they never waved back. They ignored him because he always dressed like an old man and wore the mask. One morning, Favor, one of the girls, spoke up. Before she said anything, Mike had already passed her and greeted her kindly. But Favor didn't like it. She blocked his way and asked, "Why do you always cover your face with that mask? Are you very ugly?" Mike was surprised, but he answered calmly, "No, I just like to keep my face covered." But Favor didn't stop. She laughed and asked, "Why do you always dress like an old man? Is it because you're poor?" The other girls started laughing even harder, and Mike felt embarrassed. He didn't know what to say, so he turned and walked away, feeling humiliated. "Why are you bullying the poor guy?" Daniel asked, looking scared after Mike walked away. Favor got angry and shouted, "He's as poor as you are." The other girls started laughing again. Daniel came from a poor family. He was at the university just to get a better certificate so he could find a better job when he returned to Abuja. He wasn't bothered by the girls mocking him because he was used to it. But Mike, on the other hand, couldn't handle the teasing. He had been trying to hide who he was, but the laughter hurt him so much that he started crying. That day, Mike wept quietly, feeling really sad. When Mike got home, he talked to his friend, Johnson, about what had happened. He explained how the girls had made fun of him. Johnson listened for a moment, but then he started laughing. "You're really going to cry about this?" Johnson said, laughing. "You chose to act poor and ugly, so what did you expect?" Mike felt even worse hearing that from his own friend. He thought he was doing the right thing by trying to find true love, but now even Johnson was making fun of him. Mike started to feel like maybe he made the wrong choice. Mike had made up his mind. He decided to keep acting like a poor and ugly guy to find a true life partner. At the university, people started calling him the poor and ugly boy. Every time he passed the girls, they would laugh and make fun of him. But Mike didn't get upset. He would always greet them politely and smile, even though their mocking hurt him. One day, during the rainy season, Mike was walking to class. As soon as he stepped onto the school campus, it started to rain heavily. Mike didn't want to be late, so he ran through the rain to get to his class. But suddenly, his foot hit a stone, and he fell hard on the ground. The girls saw what happened and started laughing loudly. One of them said, "Oh, he's so disgusting." Another girl added, "I hate him." Mike felt embarrassed, but he stayed calm. But then something unexpected happened. Linda, a girl in the same course as Mike, saw him fall. Instead of laughing, she ran toward him with an umbrella and covered him from the rain. "Sorry, dear Mike, I hope you're okay, Linda said, showing care and kindness. I'm fine, Mike replied calmly, feeling surprised by her kindness. Linda didn't just leave him there. She walked with Mike to the campus library, where he could change his clothes and dry off. For the first time in a long while, Mike felt someone cared about him for who he was, not how he looked or what he had. At the end of the day, Mike thanked Linda for helping him and they both went their separate ways. When Mike got home, he couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. He remembered Linda's kindness, humility, and the way she showed him love. Mike thought to himself, I won't judge her by this one thing. I will watch her closely to see if she's different from the other girls. The next day at school, Mike kept an eye on Linda. He wanted to see if she would continue to be kind to others. During break time, Mike saw Linda doing something surprising. She was sitting with a poor young man from their department, sharing her food with him. This made Mike feel hopeful that maybe Linda was truly different from the other girls. He decided to ask her for help. Please, Linda, Mike said, I haven't eaten since yesterday. Do you mind sharing your food with me? Linda smiled and said, Of course, Mike. What are friends for? She moved over to make room for him. Come sit with me and enjoy the meal. As they ate, they talked about their lives and shared their experiences. Mike felt happy and comfortable with Linda. For the first time, he felt like he was talking to someone who cared about more than just appearances or money. Soon, the bell rang, and it was time to go back to class. But Mike felt different. He had made a new friend, and he was starting to believe that true kindness and friendship could be found in the most unexpected places. It became a regular thing for Mike and Linda to eat together during break time and leave the campus together after class. The other girls would laugh at them whenever they saw them walking together. Poor lovebirds, they would say. But Mike and Linda didn't care. They didn't let the teasing bother them. Instead, they kept their friendship strong, helping each other do better in their studies. One day, while they were eating together, Linda asked Mike, Can I see your face? Even if you think you're ugly, you should be confident and not always act like you're less than others. Mike quickly said, No. I will show my face when the time is right, but I'm not ready yet. Linda understood and said, Okay, and they continued eating together in silence. As graduation day got closer, everyone was preparing for the big event. It was only 3 months away now. One day, Linda asked Mike, What are your plans after you get your certificate? Mike thought for a moment and said, I plan to go to Abuja and look for a job to make a living. Linda nodded and replied, Okay. I will stay here in this town and find a job to support myself for now. Abuja is a place for big boys and girls, but I'm not rich enough to go there yet. Mike smiled and said, Yes, I understand, but he didn't want to tell Linda about his own plans just yet. He had his reasons for keeping it to himself. He didn't want to reveal everything right away. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenneth, the departmental supervisor, said as he stood in front of the class. Your graduation is coming up in a few weeks, and the school board is happy to announce that some important people will be attending the event. For example, the billionaire CEO of Startup Tech in Abuja and his colleague will be here. They are willing to offer job opportunities to 5 people from this class. Please make sure to prepare yourselves, both in appearance and in your studies. Thank you. In an instant, excitement filled the room. The students were talking to each other with big smiles. I will surely get a job. Daniel, the proud boy, said with confidence. Me too. Lily agreed. But Mike and Linda didn't look as excited as the others. They knew that, based on their current qualifications, they weren't likely to be chosen for one of the jobs. Mike looked down at his desk, thinking about how he wasn't ready to show his true face yet. Linda glanced at Mike and could see that he was feeling the same way. On the day of the event, Mike was nowhere to be found. Linda tried looking for him and called him several times, but he wasn't answering. As the ceremony started, people began coming in, but the CEO of the startup tech company hadn't arrived yet. A few minutes later, Mike's convoy finally started to approach the event center. The security guards quickly ran to get ready. Mike stepped out of the car, and the vice chancellor, VC, of the university walked towards him. They greeted each other with a handshake. The students watching were surprised and started murmuring. "Is that Mike?" some of them asked. Others shook their heads, saying, "No, it can't be him." They were confused because Mike didn't look the way they expected. Mike then walked up to the stage, and everyone in the room got quiet. He smiled and said, "Good day, great students of this university." The students all replied, "Good day, sir," in unison. Mike continued, "I'm Mike Promise, the CEO of Startup Tech, a leading tech company in Abuja, and one of the top tech companies in Africa and beyond." Linda recognized his voice, but she was still confused about his appearance and who he really was. "I believe today is a special day," Mike said, "because I have some great news for you. Our company will be offering employment and sponsorship opportunities." Linda was still shocked. She kept thinking, is this really Mike? How could he be a billionaire? Is he the owner of Startup Tech? Was he lying to us all these years? And, how did he deceive me when I trusted him? Mike saw Linda's confusion and smiled. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I've been through a lot, and I've suffered a lot because of people. That's why I decided to change my life and find true love, happiness, and joy in the world. But before I go on about the employment and sponsorship, I want to call up Linda, my dear friend here on campus. She has shown me what true friendship is." Linda walked up the staircase and stood in front of Mike, still shocked. Mike looked at Linda with a bright smile and said, "Today, with joy in my heart, I want to ask you, Linda, will you be my fiancée and wife for life?" He took out a ring, knelt down, and asked, "Will you marry me?" "Yes. Yes. Yes." Linda shouted excitedly, her heart full of happiness. Mike gently put the ring on her finger, hugged her tightly, and the students in the crowd could hear their surprised voices. Mike then stood up and said, "Before I give out the employment opportunities, I have some advice for all of you." He paused and looked around at the students. "Never belittle anyone. You can't tell who will help you in the future. Spread love and kindness to everyone you meet." Mike continued, "When I first came to this school, I kept my face and name hidden. I didn't want anyone to know who I was. But what happened? I was laughed at, mocked, and called the poor boy. Some students said I wasn't in their class, but now, look at me. I'm the CEO and a billionaire of the company you all dream of working for." The crowd was silent. Some students were feeling regretful, others were in disbelief, and some were even angry. But Mike's words stayed with them. Mike stood on the stage and smiled at the crowd. "Today, I'm gladly giving Johnson an opportunity to work at my company as an engineer," he said. The students were surprised. "I'm also giving Grace, Matthew, and Daniel the chance to present their ideas to the company for employment opportunities," he continued. Everyone was listening carefully, wondering what he would say next. Lastly, Mike said, "I would like to invite all of you to my wedding to Linda. It will be in Abuja in 2 months. I hope you all can come and join us for our special day. Thank you, and I wish you all the best in life." The crowd was in shock. As Mike walked off the stage, there was a quiet moment before the students began to cry. Some of the students, who had always been proud and looked down on others, realized they had lost the job opportunities because of their pride. The big girls in the class, who thought they were better than everyone else, felt sad and sorry. They had missed the chance to work at one of the biggest tech companies because they hadn't shown kindness or respect to others. Lessons learned. Never judge others by their appearance or status. Mike was once called a poor boy, but he turned his life around and became a billionaire. It's important to treat everyone with respect, no matter how they look or where they come from. Pride can stop you from seeing opportunities. The big girls in the class were too proud and thought they were better than others. Because of that, they missed out on the chance to work for a successful company. Humility is important if you want to succeed. Be kind and supportive to others. Linda was always a true friend to Mike, and she helped him even when others didn't. True friendship and kindness are valuable, and they can open doors to great opportunities. Never give up on your dreams. Mike didn't let people's mocking and rejection stop him. He worked hard, changed his life, and became successful. No matter what others say, always keep working towards your goals. True love and happiness matter most. Mike didn't just focus on his success, but also on finding love and happiness. He showed that, no matter how rich or successful you become, love and kindness are what make life truly special. In the end, the crowd learned that true success comes from treating people well, working hard, and staying humble. The big girls learned that pride can stop them from reaching their dreams, but it's never too late to change and start showing kindness to others.